Hello and welcome to this edition of the Bourdier Monday Report for August 17th. On the economic front, the most important figures to follow last week were the inflation numbers in the United States, in addition to retail sales, which came in below expectations in July. And these inflation figures moved in the right direction. You can see on the left that consumer prices only rose by 2.5% year-on-year in July, continuing their normalization trajectory, and that producer prices, on the right, have started to recede to 4.2% for their core component. Why is this so important? Well, because it allows the market to push back its expectations for interest rate hikes from the US Central Bank. The market no longer expects any rate hikes in 2026. That should have been good news for bond performance, but you can see here that this is not the case, and the culprit is known. It's called oil, up again by nearly 6% against the backdrop of a stalemate, or at the very least, uncertainty regarding the resolution of the situation in Iran. So it is oil, in addition, it must be said, to the levels of US deficit and debt that are driving sovereign yields, which are rising across the board in developed countries where performance is negative. As for stocks, they have generally continued their upward trend, particularly in the United States and in emerging markets, up by 2.7%, driven by tech-heavy indices, thanks to the messages emerging from the second quarter earnings season. Because the other striking element is indeed the level of earnings growth in the last quarter and its impact on 2026 projections, which are supporting the indices while compressing valuation ratios. You can see, in fact, on the left here that second quarter earnings per share grew by 27% in dollars year over year globally, by more than 20% in Europe, and by nearly 33% in the United States. And while these performances remain driven by the technology sectors, in addition to the energy sector, obviously due to the rise in oil prices, the other good news is that all sectors are contributing positively to this growth. Overall, this allows us to see the upward trajectory of earnings estimates continuing on the right, at least for 2026 in Europe and the United States. This is the main reason why we remain positive and overweight on equities, while obviously continuing to monitor the main risks inhabiting the market. That's all for today. Thank you for your attention. We wish you an excellent week and we will see you next week.